Hi there, I'm Natasha with Principal. Wherever you're joining me from, I'm glad you're here. Today, we're talking budgeting. We all know budgeting can help manage monthly expenses, but did you know it can also be used to help map out your future goals? That's right, goals such as buying a home, planning a wedding, and saving for tuition or retirement. We'll show you how you can make budgeting work best for you and your goals, no matter if it's bare bones or detailed to the last dollar. Some people resist budgeting altogether because they think it's going to restrict them from spending the way they want. The reality is that most of us overspend just because we don't have a focused plan for spending our money. Creating a spending plan allows you to determine in advance whether you'll have enough money to do the things you'd like to do and reach the goals you'd like to reach. If you've attempted budgeting in the past to no avail, we have some new tips to share that may help you get back on track. And we'll share how to adjust as your life changes. No matter your skill set with budgeting, I'm positive you'll find some great takeaways from today's event. First, we'll watch a short video. Then we'll get back together to answer some top questions around budgeting, such as how to account for annual or biannual expenses, and how to pay off debt when it feels like you're living paycheck to paycheck. If you have questions of your own, you can submit them anytime using the Q&A feature. We'll answer your questions as they come in. After today's event concludes, we'll send out an email with a link to watch the webinar replay. So enjoy the video and let's get started.
We all have financial goals, whether we've written them down or they're just in the back of our minds. Maybe you'd like to take a big vacation for a milestone birthday, or you want to upgrade your laptop. Maybe you're even starting to think about big picture things, like buying a home or saving for retirement. Everyone likes to think about their goals, but not everyone likes to think about budgeting. While 4 out of 5 Americans use a budget to plan their spending, 20% of them keep only a mental budget. Putting a budget in place and on paper can be an easy way to work toward your goals and expand your financial wellness knowledge. Whether you decide to make your budget bare bones or detailed to the last dollar, the most important rule of budgeting is to do it. As you begin, it may help to think about budgeting differently. It's less about limiting your spending and more about taking control and directing your money toward your goals. Let's start working on your goal-based budget by outlining your goals, short, mid, and long term. Short-term goals are goals that you can accomplish soon, in the next 6 months to 5 years. A short-term goal may be paying off a credit card debt or going back to school for another degree. Mid-term goals, on the other hand, can be achieved in 5 to 10 years. For example, saving for a down payment on a home. And long-term goals are more than 10 years away, like saving for retirement. Whatever your goals may be, it's important to write them down. Studies show when you write down your goals, you're 42% more likely to achieve them. Putting your goals on paper helps you stay accountable to yourself, and it helps you remember that building your budget isn't just about limiting your spending, it's about achieving your goals. Not sure where to start? Use this helpful financial goals worksheet to see the big picture. Now that you've outlined your goals, let's talk about what goes into a budget. In general, your budget includes your monthly income and expenses, plus your savings and investing goals. Keep in mind that everyone's financial situation is different, so it makes sense that no two budgets are the same. You can find an overview of your monthly income and expenses on your latest bank statements. This also provides a snapshot of recurring expenses, like your phone bill, internet, car payments, and your rent or mortgage. Whether you're revamping your current budget or building one for the first time, we can help make it simpler. Our Budgeting to Fund Your Goals worksheet can help you organize your income and expenses to align with your goals. And if you're a first-timer, you're in good company. Creating or updating a personal budget was one of the top 10 financial resolutions for individuals this year. Now that you know your monthly budget, it's time to think about how you'll direct it to reach your goals. If you've never budgeted before or have tried to no avail, a good rule of thumb is the 50-30-20 rule. The 50-30-20 rule directs 50% of your income toward essential living expenses like housing, utilities, food, and transportation. If you're living in a high-cost area, you may need to spend more than 50% of your budget on essential expenses. That's okay, but you'll need to lower the other categories to compensate. 30% of your income goes to personal wants, like online shopping, streaming subscriptions, and hobbies. Keep in mind, if you have an irregular or seasonal income, your personal wants percentage may need to be adjusted as well. The remaining 20% of the 50-30-20 rule goes to savings and paying down debt. This may include building your retirement fund, investing, or making IRA contributions. A good goal for savings is to try to put half of the 20% toward retirement and leave the remaining 10% to pay down any debt and save for the goals you outlined earlier. Another idea for savings? Build an emergency fund. It's a good idea to have 3 to 6 months of expenses set aside in case of emergencies. So, what happens if you use the 50-30-20 rule but you overspend in a category? Maybe the electric bill was higher than you planned, or you spent more on gas than you expected. It's perfectly okay. Just take a look at your budget and determine where you can make some deductions in other categories. For example, if you went over your gas budget by $20, maybe you can reduce your clothing budget by $20 to get back on track. It's important to remember that things will come up that you didn't expect. Just make adjustments and keep going. Maybe you've tried the 50-30-20 rule and it doesn't work well for you. That's okay too. Every person and budget is different. Another budget approach you can use to help reach your goals is the envelope method. This is a hands-on system where you put cash into separate envelopes earmarked for discretionary expenses like entertainment, gas, and groceries. Don't worry, your bills and regular expenses can stay automated. To get started, review your current discretionary expenses and divide them into categories. Then set spending limits for each. For example, you may decide to give yourself $100 a month for dining out, $100 for entertainment like going to the movies or bowling, $50 for clothing, and another $100 for miscellaneous costs. Once you have your plan, withdraw the money and put it into the envelopes. The amount in the envelopes is the amount you have to spend on that activity that month. If you use it all before the end of the month, that's it. You'll need to wait until next month when you fill the envelopes again. This helps you stay in check so you don't overspend. Besides the 50-30-20 rule and the envelope method, there are many other ways to budget to help you meet your goals. You may need to try different approaches to see what works best for you. And remember, no budget will go exactly as planned. A budget is a working tool that's meant to be adjusted as your situation and life changes. It's not designed to restrict you from spending. It's a plan to help you achieve your goals. So when you achieve a goal, take time to celebrate. Then think of how you can shift your spending to tackle your other more long-term goals. In addition to helping you achieve your goals, working on your budget can improve your overall financial wellness. Watching your money come and go from your account can help you see how your hard-earned money is being spent. It also allows you to reprioritize your spending so your money works harder for you. You can also feel more financially secure when part of your budget is set aside to handle emergencies. By allocating part of your paycheck to your emergency fund, you're giving yourself a safety net for unexpected car repairs, pet surgery, or family illness. An emergency fund may take time to build, but future you will be grateful. And you won't go into debt when emergencies arise. If you've tried budgeting before and it didn't work for you, maybe a different approach will. The important thing to remember is to keep trying. Here are a few things to consider if you find yourself consistently going over budget. Next time you consider using your credit card for a purchase you can't pay off immediately, reconsider. Try to remember the big picture. Spending now means it may take longer to reach your goals. Tempted to make a big unplanned purchase? Sleep on it. If it's not an absolute necessity, wait 24 hours and weigh the benefits to make sure it's adding value to your life. Go old school and pay with cash. You don't have to use cash exclusively or completely forego online payments, but handing over bills at the register instead of swiping a card can help you see the immediate impact of your purchase. Try a no-spend challenge. Pick a day of the week and pledge to spend nothing for 24 hours. It may seem intense, but it's an effective way to shock your system, curb your spending habits, and change your mindset around impulse spending. Prioritize your bills. Yes, you may have autopay set up, but what about paying your bills right away when you get paid? That way you can really see how much discretionary income is left over for the month, and all your necessary expenses are already paid. Develop good financial habits. Experts say it takes 21 days to form a habit, and by setting your goals and sticking to a budget, you're well on your way to developing good financial habits, some of which you may pass along to loved ones, like your kids. We know there's not a one-size-fits-all budget. That means there's no perfect way to manage your budget either. But with persistence and knowledge, you can build and manage a budget that will help you reach your goals. Looking for support and helpful tools? There are several tools and resources you can find online, including some through Principal. Visit principal.com/budget goals to get started. And go to principal.com/milestones to learn more about budgeting and how to create one that works for you. To track your spending activities, you may want to look into apps or programs like Mint or You Need a Budget for help budgeting and achieving your financial goals. Whether your goals are large or small, short-term or long-term, budgeting is a valuable tool that can help you achieve them and boost your financial wellness know-how too.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now let's dig into the questions. Our first question today is, how do I account for annual or biannual expenses I may encounter, like insurance, in my budget? One option you could try is to save a certain amount each month for those annual expenses, like car insurance or registration. This is sometimes referred to as a sinking fund. A sinking fund is a savings method where you save for expected expenses, not to be confused with an emergency fund, which is saving for unexpected expenses. This way, when those biannual or annual expenses do pop up, you'll already have reserves set aside to handle those expenses without having to tap into your savings. Our next question is, I put a lot of my expenses on a credit card to help get points, and we pay off the credit card entirely at the end of each month. What may work best at incorporating those expenses into a monthly budget? If some of the charges you get are recurring expenses, one option is to use your previous month's statement to anticipate next month's statements. The credit card statement may come a bit later in the month, but you can always log into your credit card account to see what expenses have hit your card and when. Then use this information for building out your budget. Just continue the practice of paying off your credit card entirely each month. That's a good habit and can also help your credit score. Next up, we have, how do you pay off debt when you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck? Great question, and it's a common one we get. Create a budget that includes your debt payments so you can have a plan to start paying that debt down. Account for your debt that needs to be paid into the essential living expenses part of your budget. And if you may not be able to save as much as you'd like right now while you're paying down debt, that's all right. When you feel like your debt is getting more manageable, you can start adding in more to your savings. Our next question today is, how do I start creating a budget for retirement? What should I keep in mind that might change costs? When you want to start creating a budget for retirement, a good place to start is by estimating how much you'll need in retirement. Your retirement wellness score is a great place to start. Next, your expenses will be important to consider, like traveling, housing, transportation, healthcare, and other hobbies that are on your essentials list. Also, be sure to note that inflation can adjust costs of your everyday items. Annual costs of items like insurance and healthcare do tend to go up year over year. You'll want to factor these in when you're working on your budget. If you're needing a place to write everything down, check out our retirement budget worksheet, which you can access at principal.com/retirement budget worksheet. And our final question for today is, what should I do if my bills are more than my income? Great question. A good place to start is by listing out all of your expenses, including what you've spent money on in the last month. Once this is listed, identify areas of unnecessary spending that you can cut. Make it a point to stop spending money on these areas until you've made the progress you're looking for. If things still aren't adding up, you can always look for ways to supplement your income, like taking a part-time job or freelancing work temporarily while you pay down any debt or reduce non-essential living expenses. That concludes the Q&A portion of today's event. We'll continue answering questions in the queue. Hang tight if you haven't received a response yet. We'll do our best to answer all of the questions that come in. What can you do next? Get started with your own budget by downloading our budget template at principal.com/budget worksheet. We also have many budgeting tools and resources available to you at principal.com/milestones. If you have more questions or would like some help, a financial professional can help you put together a financial plan. Visit principal.com to search and find one near you. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll send an email with a link to watch the replay if you missed any information. To replay or share this webinar and see a list of upcoming webinars, visit principal.com/learnnow. You always have 24/7 access to replays. Take care, and we hope you'll join us again soon.